everybody, and welcome back. Today we're learning front flips. Let's go! With front flips, like any flip, they can be broken down into about 4 parts. The punch, where you take off from the ground. The set, where you lift before you flip. The actual flip part, and the landing. In my opinion, it's easiest to learn on a trampoline, so that's where I'm going to be teaching it first. But don't worry, if you don't have a trampoline, I'm going to show you a couple things you can do on the grass or anywhere. With your punch or your takeoff, the key to remember here is where you're looking is where you're going to go. So if my hands are down, I'm going to go down in my front flip. If my hands and my eyes are up, then I'm going to go up in my front flip. The same goes for your hands and your shoulders. If your hands are throwing down, even if your eyes are up, you're still going to go down. If your shoulders are down, you're going to go down. If your hands go up and your shoulders are up, then you're going to go up. But in general, where you look is where you're going to go. Next part is the set. The key here is just to wait, especially if you're on a trampoline. You want to wait as long as you can so you can get as high as you can before tucking. If you tuck too early, you're going to lose your height. Next is the tuck, and it's easiest to think of it just as a forward roll in the air. The tighter your shape is, the faster you rotate. And the harder you throw your arms, the faster you're going to rotate. Another reason why it's important to set with your arms in this position, besides just going up, is so that you can get the biggest throw into your tuck. If your arms are here, then you can only throw this much. But if your arms are here, you can throw this much. So the more arched you are, the harder you're going to be able to throw into your tuck. Lastly, you have the landing. Just like you want to keep your chest up in the beginning, you want to keep your chest up at the end as well, so that you can land in a good position in order to go into other skills. The key to a good landing is having good height, so you can actually open up to a full stretched position, and having good timing. If you open too early, then generally you fall backward, and if you open too late, you're going to fall forwards. Ow! Smacked myself in the face. Right, with that out of the way, the next thing to go over is some drills. The biggest one is just a forward roll. If you can do a nice tight forward roll, holding your knees the whole time, then a front flip is just the exact same shape for a front flip, except in the air. Another good prerequisite to have is a dive. So you can learn how to bail out of a front flip if needed, and learn the punch to get enough height. If you're learning it on a trampoline, that's basically all you need to learn. However, if you're learning on a spring floor or on grass, there's a couple other things that could be helpful. One good drill is practicing punching in the right position. If you have a line, the goal will be to hurdle over the line and then punch backward. That helps you get the blocking shape so that when you do an actual front flip, you can keep your chest up and go up instead of leaning forward and going backward. Each time I do this, I'm thinking about pushing all the way through my toes, getting my arms behind my head, and then extending as I jump back. Another really good drill is to practice doing it onto a mat, just for either from standing or from a punch. The goal is to keep those arms up and try to extend and wait so you go up before you get the tuck. Even if you don't land on your feet, that's no problem, as long as you're practicing getting a big stretch and getting a fast throw into a tight tuck with your arms. A third drill that can be helpful is doing it over a block. This drill is really helpful for getting the timing of the rotation down and also being able to open up at the right time and land with your arms in the correct position. The goal is to roll over the block without touching it with your hands, although this can be scary, so it might be a better drill for later on once you've practiced it on the trampoline a little bit. Now, if you follow those tips, you will get your front flip eventually. But to get it even faster, here are a couple common mistakes that I see a lot of beginners make. Number one is the takeoff shape. That is very, very important. Because if you are looking down because you feel like you're not going to get around enough, then you are going to go down. So make sure you have a good takeoff shape. Number two is just not tucking tight enough. A lot of people are scared of the landing, and so they open up or they tuck in this shape instead of this shape, and so their tuck ends up being slower than it would be otherwise, and they end up landing on the butt. Third most common mistake I see is people not waiting long enough or tucking too early. A lot of people have enough strength to punch or at least jump on a trampoline and get the height that they need for a front flip, but they're just too impatient about the flip, and so they end up tucking really early and cutting their height. And mistake number 4 that I see is people opening way too early. If you're consistently just almost landing your front flip but still falling backwards, chances are you just need to hold your tuck longer and commit to it. The 5th mistake I see, and thankfully the least frequent, is putting your knees together like this and slamming your nose right into it. When I teach front flips, I will always teach knees to shoulders instead of knees together. That way you avoid giving yourself a nice old honk on the schnoz. Anyway, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a like. If you hated it, give it a dislike. And if you didn't care, tell me in the comments. As always, if you've applied these tips and you're still feeling stuck, feel free to send me a clip on Instagram and I'll review it and give you a couple tips. That's all I got for you today. I will see you on the flip side.